Hi everyone. So as always, we'll be continuing on this sound bites recorder today as well. And in our to-do list, we have a couple of items for today. So one, we'll be working on the strict type checking, and also we'll be looking into authentication. I'm not sure how much authorization we'll be able to look into, but for now, we'll be starting with authentication. So let me pull this up. So I want to go to the bytes directory, and then here the first thing we want to do is in our ts config I want to enable strict type checking. So let me do that. So with that, let's open one of the files. This apparently is happy, no issues here either. How about here? I'm not sure if the compiler has. Okay, we have started seeing some issues here, right? So like the props aren't typed, chunks here isn't typed, I guess. Same thing here, I guess, because chunks is not typed, and so on, right? So I think like we can address in the same order. I just want to see like whether this file is properly checked, like, and had the compiler started at that time or not, but it seemed it was checked. So let's start here. So a recorder takes in a set audio, which is just a function, and the set audio is defined, I think, in app or other index. So let's pull that up. So we define audio here, right? So audio by default is null. So but then like we are using set audio, right? So this is just a setter that takes in a value, and that's all, right? Like returns void. So if we go to our recorder, where do we use set audio? Right, so we use set audio in multiple places, but then set audio is basically a function that takes in these values, right? So if I had to type it out, I would say probably like set audio is a function that returns void. Although it's not happy now, because as you see here it's complaining that now it was expecting that it shouldn't have any properties like this, like expected 0 arguments got 1. So we'll go up here and we'll say like it takes in an object, right? So but then this shouldn't satisfy it, but then it's because it's an object, right? So it's not typed in a way that it should be, like it's very loosely typed. So we'll be very specific, saying that like it takes in a URL which will be of type something. We'll type it out in a second, and then also data, right? So now let's take a look at the types for what is the type of this audio URL. I think we had typed it somewhere last time. So it's just a string, and the result is string, array, buffer, or null. Okay, so this URL is always a string, and then this could be string. In our case, we are always storing it as a string, right? So I think like we can be explicit there. Okay, so or we can basically come back to this, but although like it doesn't seem happy completely. Binding, okay, let's see this one first. Binding element string implicitly has any type. Okay, let me address. I think like there's this case as well. Argument of type is not assignable to. Okay, so yeah, because it could be either this object or nothing, right? So it could be this or something like this. Although this doesn't seem happy. cannot find set name of set audio. Okay, that is weird. Missing implicitly. Okay, I'm thinking like we should probably move this out here. So I'll say like interface set audio, or should we just define a type? Yeah, let's go ahead with this. Set audio takes in actually let's do it like this. So let me just create a type. We'll call it A for now, and this would be equal to, it's either an object with URL where the URL is a string and then data is also string. If this is one scenario, and then the other scenario is basically it's an empty object, right? So this is fine, and then instead of using this here, I can just use A here. Yeah, what is it complaining about now? So binding element A implicitly has any type. I'm not sure why this is doing this. I think we should probably type the whole function out. That might make things simpler. So this is the input parameter, right? So how about we wrap, or we can do like a like a type fn is takes in an A, returns a void. Yeah, parameter has, okay, this has to be typed as like this, right? So now I think like it's all it's saying is like it's not used, so that is something we can address here by just using it here. So now I think, yeah, this is fine, although yeah, I'm not really happy the way it looks, or like way we have written it. So let's fix that out. So we'll rename it to set audio, and then instead of having additional type, we can just move it here, I think, something like this, and then use it right here. Set audio. Okay, so this is also typed, although I'm not sure the formatting isn't being done, so it might, something might be off. Let's see like if it's formatting things or not. Yeah, it isn't, but it could be because of these errors. So yeah, let's address these as well. So we know that chunks, we are appending chunks, really, guys. So the chunks are coming from this bit, so E, right? So this is blob event, and then data is, do we know what data is? It says it's a blob, so we could say like blob array. So chunk is a blob array, right? So this is fine. The only error that we are getting now is something here, like that it should not be null. So argument of type null is not assignable parameter for this thing. Okay, so apparently we can't assign null to it. Maybe we can just leave it empty and it will remain undefined. Okay, now it's complaining that we should probably check if this exists or not. Yeah, okay, which is fine. We could probably just do a check here, and that should be it. I can say I can do a short circuit, and then that should be fine. Same thing here as well. Recorder.mr, right, and the same thing here as well. And but here we are looking for stream instead. Okay, but any other errors that we are getting? Okay, it seems like these are also warnings or errors. The thing like object is okay. Yeah, this also needs a check for recorder, right? Same thing for these two. I think we can just do a wrap them in a if condition, and say like if recorder, only then do this, right? What about other errors? Yeah, I think this is good now. Like, this is properly typed. So now let's move to the let's review the other files first. So this is fine. Because we are not using it, I'll just get rid of this type. So this file is fine. Let's now move to upload. On upload we just have this one warning here. Actually we have a few here as well, as like because the props aren't typed. So it's asking that like argument of type is not assignable to parameter. Okay, so set state action of null, because this is not typed. I think like that is the concern here. Like set recording name, it doesn't really know what it can be. I think by default we can keep it undefined, and then probably add a generic here. I think this should help it. Yeah, it does. Okay, now we need to type these props out. We have is uploading, set audio and audio, right? So audio we have already typed set audio. Audio would be okay. Yeah, audio actually I just removed the typing for, but yeah, we can, I think like we can get it back, right? So let me pull this, yank this out, and go back here in upload. We can just use it here. So we have typings for audio, right? Audio we have set audio we also did just now, so that was here. I can probably just do an export and then set audio, right? Doesn't import automatically. Okay, so we'll say import import from recorder, right? So from this we want to import set audio. So we have that interface as well. Now we want to look into uploading and is uploading. So these two, why is this not happy? Okay, so these two parameters I think we are getting from this file. So yeah, this will always have a string value, and we will assign it a string value as well. Like there won't be anything else. So is uploading, I think like always would be a string. It doesn't know that, but okay. So let's define type or interface for props. Props would be is uploading is a string set. Should it be a semicolon. Set is uploading would be a function that takes in a string and returns byte. Alright, so this is set is uploading, and then we have set audio. So we have already imported an interface for that, so we can just use that set audio, and then we also have audio, which we have an interface defined up above. So that should be it. Now let me just type this by saying like these map to props, and that should be it. Something is wrong here. It says that parameter. Okay, yeah, so this would be, I'm not sure it should be like this, but okay, yeah, that is what makes it happy. So this should be fine. Yep. So this file is all right, I guess. Yeah, empty diagnostics. Just quickly going back to these other files and to validate, like while I was refactoring this, nothing broke in other places, but it looks like everything else is fine. Okay, next thing we have is listener. I don't want to go to immediately. I want to address all the React components, so let's start there. So then we have underscore app. This also is fine. We have app index. Okay, so we see some errors here, right? So we have set audio here. Now set audio, it says that type parameter value and a are incompatible. Type empty object or this object are not assignable to. Okay, so first of all, this is set audio, right? So set audio needs a typing here. It shouldn't be null by default, can be undefined. But null would have been alright as well, but is not defined, right? So type. Okay, so audio, actually, like we can probably type out, let's see, like if we import the audio interface, don't want this either. Okay, it's not importing the right thing. Okay, so let me import the audio interface from, I think from what component was that? Components, I think it was upload. Yeah, so if I type this out, audio, does this help us? Okay, so set audio is already happy, right? But now this audio is complaining that, okay, player takes in an audio, right? This actually is not audio from what I remember. Like I think we had renamed it to bytes. Yeah, so going back here, so this would be byte. Hopefully this makes it happy. Yeah, and then we have bytes cannot be used as a JSX component. It returns something. So okay, apparently I can't use it as a JSX component. How is that? What's the warning here? It returns type element array. It's not a valid. Okay, yeah, that's actually true. So we are returning an array here, but then we are not wrapping it in a div or something. So we can just wrap it up, and then that should be fine. Now this all has to be within what did we break? Yeah, if we are doing this, how about let me do this manually. Okay, yeah. It was so yeah, if we are doing a div, right, and then we have bytes and mapping over those bytes and in turn returning this thing. Does look fine to me. So this is the return. Okay, the div probably should be below this. Yeah, still doesn't help it. Oh, okay, should it be right here? No. So this is yeah, why is it not formatting it? It doesn't seem to have any errors. Something is wrong here. Oh no, it's fine. I think, yeah, the important thing is that like I don't have this enabled for typescript.tsx files, so we can probably go to coc config, not commands, coc config. Okay, let me save this file first, and then to this I'll add typescript.tsx. Yeah, I think it should be fine now. Okay, so now that we are back here, the only thing that needs to be typed is data. So this data comes in from get server side props, and the way this data is, I don't really recall what this looks like. We could probably look at the fetch API. Right, so we are sending back an array of these four types, right? So we can probably type it out here. So do we have a bytes? I think we'll have a bytes, right? In the bytes component we might have typed out bytes, so we can probably reference that. Yeah, this is just missing the ID, so we can add the ID here as well. And while we are looping over things, we can do a key of byte.id. That way we get rid of that error as well. And yeah, that should be fine, and we can import this in the index file. So let me go here, import. I think we can import it right next to this byte. Yeah, then we can type this out as data being byte array. Import path cannot end with tsx. Okay, so that is something we can get rid of. Is there any other error? Module upload declares audio locally, but it's not exported. Okay, so let's go to the file and see. Do we even have audio? Yeah, we do, but it needs to be exported. So if I go back, try again, check for errors. Okay, now we are getting more errors actually. So we are getting issues. Okay, yeah, this is just a check that we need to add, I guess. Okay, the bytes is complaining that audio could be undefined. I'm thinking like rather than doing it here, we should probably do it in the file itself. So, or actually we are doing it in the file itself. If I make it optional, rather no, rather here I'm saying this is an optional key, right? So if I now am here, does it not? Oh, okay. Type audio or undefined is not assignable to byte. Okay, I think like it's a type issue. So what are we passing it here? We are passing it audio. Is this taking? Hopefully it's not typed as a byte. Oh, it is. So this is taking a byte, and there we are passing it an audio. Although like I think like, yeah, I've just by doing that I've really made it confusing. But yeah, let's figure it out. Okay, so we have let's start with the recording first. So the error it's throwing is set state action audio undefined is not assignable to set audio. Type of parameter value and a are incompatible. Type this this is not assignable to type. Okay, so set audio we have typed as okay, this obviously is not correct, right? So we are giving this and then set audio can't take that. So let me get rid of this typing, right? Let's see what it complains about. So now what does it think audio is? So audio it's undefined, and then set audio, so undefined is not assignable to set audio. And what is recorder taking? Like recorder is asking for set audio, which is a function that takes in URL and data, and then okay, this is where it was getting that A from. Okay, so now can we do like multiple type? I don't think how that would work. This is by default type to undefined. Oh, okay, so how about we do like first of all let me figure out like how are we using audio. So audio is being used to, okay, so audio actually is a byte, right? So this is very confusing, byte, and then this would be set. Have we imported set audio somewhere? Oh, okay, it doesn't really take two parameters, so it just wants one. I'm not sure how it works with the setters. I have not really seen. So let's see, like let's see. Okay, so I think if I just type it to bytes, right, because eventually I'm putting bytes in it. How about that? Because a byte, no, not really. It actually should be just audio only. So we are passing, let's see, let's confirm this. So this takes an audio, right? So if I go here, the audio it takes in, yeah, it's taking in audio. That is set audio, right? So we have set audio here, we don't use it anywhere else. Okay, this is not correct then. No, we just actually want audio only. Takes an audio and URL, so this clearly yeah, I'm actually I think like we have sort of used inconsistent naming, and then that is what's causing this problem. So let's go back here. So the recorder takes in set audio, right? So set audio. So set audio basically sets the value of URL and data, right? So that is what audio would be. So that is so far so good. Now upload, and also like to the player we are passing audio as well. So it has a URL and what was it, data, right? So that should be fine for this as well, because it's searching for, like, it's using its URL property, so that's fine. But then upload takes in a audio as well, so let's see how it's consuming that. So if we just look for audio, from audio it's grabbing the data, so that is also fine, like, and here it's using the URL, so this is fine. Although the typing, yeah, typing is also correct, so I think like this typing is fine. Now if I go back here, and then in this case the typing of audio, which is this thing, it should be fine, right? Like now let's see why it's complaining. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to check is, like, our set audio has a very different typing from what I remember, is which could be a problem, right? So set, it is set audio, set audio. Did we type it somewhere? I think it's in upload. No, recorder maybe, not even here. Player, where did I type it? Yeah, it's in recorder. Yeah, here it is, right? Okay, this is actually the same thing, right? So URL and data it takes in, and then, or an empty object. What if we get rid of this, because, or no, we do want it. So if I now go to index, let's see what the error is. Now all of this makes sense. So it says that type this is not assignable to set audio. Okay, so this is a dispatch set state action is not assignable to set audio. Okay, this is how we should have defined it as well, right? One quick thing that I can think of updating is, rather than saying all of this, we can probably just replace it with audio. So this would become, I think audio is there in upload, right? And then we just name it audio. I think this should be fine. Move it up here as well. Are there any issues though? Okay, this is fine. Going back here. Yeah, it will still throw that dispatch error, which is, I guess, expected. But then, is it typed here? I think like it would be typed here, right? Like it already should have types, so I don't need to type it again. Is what I'm thinking. But then, okay, yeah, it would ask for types when it's taking this parameter. So let's go to a recorder. Let's remove this type. So this type is creating problems now rather than anything else. So this says that like set audio is implicitly to any. Now if we go to index, right, so this is the type that we are React is creating for it when I use a generic audio. So saying this like it's a React dispatch of React set state action audio or undefined, so we can use the same type here. So what is it called? Let me take a look. React.dispatch, React.setState action. React.dispatch, React set state action audio or undefined. Now let's see, it cannot find React.dispatch. How come? Is it dispatch? Okay, with the capital D and capital set state as well. Replace this with capital D, capital S. About now. Yeah, so we can rename this to set state action, and then this can go in here, I guess. No, set audio, and this would be set. Okay, it shouldn't be called set state action. This should be called set audio. Set audio. How about that? Let's see. Is this good enough? Expression expected. So did we mess up something here? Did we add too many of these? So there obviously should be one, two. Two of these are fine. What is the issue now? Individual declaration is merged. Declaration must all be exported or all local. Okay, let's do we need this? Okay, we had multiple types, so that was the issue. Yeah, I think now it has some other issues, but let's see. So can we not pass argument of type? Okay, yeah, so we could probably instead of undefined, can we do so in our index, right, so the default state could be an empty object, right? So if I now check the type for set audio, not here, line 30. So here, why does it keep jumping back? But regardless, so here the type is audio now. It's not even undefined. Okay, so I think like this should address it. Now here we are telling it that I think like we can just remove that additional type which is undefined, and let's see. So on this file now we are getting a warning here, I guess. Argument of type is not assignable to this thing. Okay, so I think like rather than doing an empty object, we can probably just do undefined and then handle that in our components. So that should be fine. Now here so this is all right as well. Now this data property has some issues. Okay, now here it's saying that type string array buffer or null is not assignable to string or array buffer. Okay, so there is a possibility that fr.result could be null, right? So we have to type it out. Yeah, so in our audio interface, which is in upload.tsx actually, we have to type out that this could be null. There's a probability of that. So opening index here. So what is the issue that we are getting? Okay, let's make this bigger. Can I resize this? I can't apparently. Oh, I can. So yeah, this is good enough. So the error we are seeing is expected a semicolon here. There shouldn't be a paren here, but then yeah, it also needs a so this is addressed. Next thing is that apparently I can't pass it undefined. Argument of undefined is not assignable to set state audio. Okay, can't we just change the isn't the type allowing null anymore? Undefined is allowed, right? So we can set the state to how about I just remove it, and yeah, no, it's still expecting an argument. It doesn't really take undefined, so how about by default we make it null, right? So null is not assignable to parameter. How come? Type audio or this. Yeah, this is really getting confusing. So audio can be this, or it could be undefined, right? Something like this. So if I go to this file now, it certainly can't be null since we have made it undefined. So let's remove this. Yeah, the error goes away. Here it's still looking for an argument. Let's pass it undefined. Yeah, it's happy now. So that is I think like we might have broken something in our components, but that can be easily fixed, so I'm not too worried about that. So this component is actually done. Now let's go back here. The byte we are passing it to it is type audio is not assignable to byte or undefined, right? So I think the typing in this component is incorrect and we can fix it. So it should be Now considering that, we should just name it audio back again. Audio would be of type, not that, audio, right? So this would, let me copy this from here. I think this should be all right. And similarly, let me replace byte with audio. Not sure why it didn't update this one. But audio.url, and that should be it. So if I go back to index, we'll have to rename this here. This would be called audio now. So yeah, that is fine. This component is also doing all right, so we can close this out. Now going back here, let's review these components again. So bytes we just fixed, so that, no, we didn't. Here we need yeah, I think byte and audio share a type very closely, right? So we can have a common interface and then implement that between the two, or do a partial implementation as well. Or player could basically take in a byte or an audio, right? That is also possible. So let's import. So from this we'll import byte, and this could either be audio or byte. I think that should be fine. And then if I come here, so player is fine. Recorder is also fine. Upload has some issues now. Okay, why are we using set audio? Yeah, because this set audio is not the correct, no, it should be the correct one, but I'm not sure if it's defined there. It is, it's not, just not exported. So going back to upload, more errors. Yeah, so object is possibly undefined, so yeah, at this stage, how do we make sure that, okay, let me come back to this, just review how the UI has been set up. This is fixable. Do you have any other issues? Just this one, right? So audio can be null, right, or rather undefined. And how do we make sure that? So we get to this upload UI, right? So if we open our index file, not here, if I open index and we show upload here, okay, so there's no check. At least what we do is we check like if audio is there and audio has a URL. But when we call this method, the upload method, I think we can just do like a if not audio or audio.url, just return in that case. I think that should be it. Yep. Although like I don't think there's a need as such, because we are checking it here, right? So but that's for UI, this is for fetching data, so that's all right. Okay, so this is also done. What else do we have? Yeah, I think this covers the upload component with that. Yep. Now let's go to index again, see if we have any warnings. No. App is also fine because it doesn't have much. So now let's go to the listener, or let's go to the API functions first. So yeah, we have some typing errors again here. It says that element implicitly has any type because expression type name cannot be used. Okay. So this record, we can type it out, right? So like say like actually here we can do it. So here we will have this can't use a byte interface because the naming convention is capital and doesn't use snake case either. So we'll define an interface byte record, right? And this will have name as string, URL as string, and how do we create it on as a string as well? Yeah, can we do a, this is allowed? Okay, so now we can type it here saying that fetch all gets us byte record array, something like this. No, that doesn't help. Okay, so it's seems fine to me, but then okay, yeah, okay, so we shouldn't do it like this because fetch all can just be typed, right? So if I go to, where is fetch all coming from? Fetch all, right? So yeah, so this can be typed rather than we can just take this interface from here, move it over here, and say that fetch all will return a byte record array, right? Okay, so now it's breaking because when we return record, the type record is read only and cannot be assigned to mutable. Okay, so we can make it read only by using the TypeScript read only, only, and then wrap it with this. Now it's still complaining. Read only is not is not a valid async function. Return. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we are returning a promise which has, okay, I see. So let me for a second get rid of this, right? The current definition would be promise of record, right? So we can do a similar thing saying that this would be a promise of this thing. Hopefully this works. No, doesn't. It's complaining about records. Type records is not assignable to read only byte record. Record is missing. Okay, why wouldn't you let me type it out? This gives me a table. This gives me a promise of your table records, and that is what we are getting here as well, right? On records we are getting, no, how come this is different from, oh, because we are awaiting it, right? Okay, so we could probably type it out here in that case. Not that like the typing above shouldn't have worked, that should, yeah, the same error would come up here. Yeah, we can make it read only, but then I'm not sure if it would work. So adding this here, still throwing errors, saying that records is not assignable to. Okay, so let's see. I haven't really used TypeScript record, so let's see. TypeScript record, is there an interface for that? Yep. So maybe we define a record, and that should be rather than a interface. Type record. I don't think can we just instead do this, and where is our interface? I think like it's in here. So what if I do this? It requires 2 parameters. What parameters does it require? Extends something like this, and k extend string. This is this. So this is our p in k. Okay, so this is our key, and then the t. Okay, so our key would always be a string. So right, so this is a string. Okay, this is a string, and this is a byte. But then okay, the t bit I'm not sure. It certainly is not correct, is what I'm sure about. Record requires t. T can be one of these, right? So yeah, I'm saying that cannot find name byte record. That is all right. We already have it here. Just removing the s should be fine. But yeah, type records is not assignable to record string. Okay, so okay, let's get rid of all these types first of all. So we'll do clearTel equal to, right, and then get rid of this type as well. And yeah, so now if we look at it, currently records is a Airtable record. This is strongly typed. What if we do as byte record array? Doesn't let us do that. Conversion of record to byte record array may be a mistake because neither of the types sufficiently overlap with each other. If this was intentional, convert the expression to unknown first. Okay, the type record is read only and cannot be assigned. Okay, so what if I do read only? Conversion type record to read only may be a mistake. Type record is missing the following properties that I know of, but how do I type it out then is what I'm wondering. Let's see if there's a whether we even need to take this approach or not. So we have this fields, right? So yeah, property field doesn't exist on. Okay, no. Here it's sort of again we are running into a different problem altogether. So maybe I think we don't even need to type it out like this. So here it's saying that element implicitly has any because expression name cannot be used to index type empty object. Property name doesn't exist on type empty object. Okay, let's take a look at what field is. Field is a property that can be anything, that can have anything in it, right? So can I do name? Does it still throw errors? Property name doesn't exist on type. Yeah, I think it's just that I'm not sure if the typings on this are correct basically. So we have imported the types from definitely typed and they might be wrong altogether. So let's figure out a way to override the types. So the record that we are getting is Airtable record. What if I say and we are using fields here. Are we using this somewhere else as well? Why is it complaining? Command failed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's try converting it into an object first of all. Yeah, I think it won't be straightforward converting an object because the value isn't consistent, or actually it is. It's all strings. All of these are strings, so it should be fine. And this key would also be a string. That said, so let's take a look at the type itself. That would be, you can probably access it from here. So we are looking for record, and it has like it takes in this t field. T field is in itself fields. No, let me search for let's go to all. Yeah, we have all here, right? So it returns a record of t fields. If we go to t fields is it no, not this t fields. I'm confused here, unless I'm sort of thinking about in a wrong way. I'm not really sure. So where does t field come from, right? Like we have a table that extends it, or is t field a generic here? I think it might be a generic here. Sorry, so this is a generic. And any record, so we are defining an interface called record, and yeah, it takes in id and it has t fields, but the confusing bit is that, like, what do I do with t fields, right? It's a Airtable record and it has a type t fields which has a property called fields, right? So we already have a fields property, and okay, so what if we type the record? So if we type the record, that also means that Yeah, I think like if we type this out, that should address it. So here they are doing the read-only array and then records and t fields, right? So this still needs to be typed. So let me go to fetch all. So this returns this thing, right? So what if I pass it string here? Let's see what it says. Expected 0, types argument got 1. That is not very nice. All doesn't take any arguments, right? Does it? So if jump to definition, instance JD. Okay, so all doesn't take in a parameter. That is the problem. So we can't actually patch it in a, or like pass it a generic as such. We can not. So can we do it here? We can't. Can we do it on select? That would be interesting. I think we can. We cannot. Okay. Yeah, same thing here. Okay, I'm thinking of like not spending too much energy on this. Let's find out a easier way around this. So currently we are returning a record, right? And because we need to access fields in our, where was it, in upload, no, in fetch, right? So element implicitly has any type because expression name cannot be used. Yeah, so this field doesn't have that. Okay, so let's leave it as is. I can't right now think of a solution, so let's come back to it. Let's look at upload for now. So upload actually seems fairly typed, so that file is fine. So now going to listener. So this is our listener file, and this has its own TypeScript file, so we'll have to fix that. We can just do a struct true. I should have imported the primary configuration, but let's not worry about it right now. Okay, so yeah, this doesn't seem to have any issues, which is weird because like we are doing the same thing here as well and it's not throwing errors. Let me see. It could be that it's not picking this TypeScript file at all, although it is strict true. Let me start Vim again. Yeah, how about, no, it's showing up now. Okay, so this is good. We have something here as well. Like I don't want to immediately address these issues. Yeah, besides the field access, do we have anything else? Yeah, we just have these element implicitly has any because expression of type string cannot be used. So bytes, it says that it has to be a key of string. Okay, so if I do match, matches of type this match regex match array, and if I look at the I want to check the type so that I can see like what can we do with it. It returns a regex so there are two types. Yeah, I want to look at this one, but it doesn't open it for some reason. Let's try again. GD request okay, yeah, I think like what I just need to save this file. Okay, let's try now. Let's take a look at the 2015 one. So we have match, right, and we get a match expression, regex match expression, regex expression match array. And what is this is something I want to look into. So this is again in a different file. Let's look at this one. So this is always okay. This has a groups and then a key and a string pair. Okay, so does match have a groups? Yeah. And can, what else does it have? Okay, let's try it out. So imagine we have this string, and okay, this is also fine. Let's use the string instead. So we have s as this value. Probably just take this bit, and then s, what we have done here is we have taken, yeah, we have matched it. So we've done like match search for the string vary, right? Didn't return anything. Okay, yeah, that was capital, so that's why it didn't match. Okay, so the groups are empty. So what if in our match, I think we do have a group here, but then we want to check if the whole thing is present or not, right? So we are not only interested in groups. So what can we do here? So match has, besides these normal values, I think like it just has like array values, array methods. So I'm not sure why it's complaining when I do match one, right? Is it complaining that I can't query the bytes, or is it something else? No index signature with a parameter of type string was found on type. Element implicitly has an any type. Oh, okay, this would be as string. Does that help? Which element are we talking about here? What if I do like a not this so if I implicitly say hey and then try it out, it still complains that element implicitly has any type because expression of type hey cannot be used as index type. Why is that? So bytes element has I think the typing might be incorrect. So where is it typed? Yeah, so we are saying that to me this looks fine. This fetch bytes, right? So fetch bytes bytes has a, if I do if bytes, so now there should be no never condition or unknown condition. Should be bytes. So okay, it's still a never because okay, so it's byte that is typed incorrectly, and I'm not sure why I have done that. So this should okay, no, actually I haven't done that. So byte is just this thing. This is also complaining for some reason. But yeah, let's come back to it. So here it's complaining that why is it why is the type all messed up? So reduce will return an object of this, so R is this. Let's see again here. Yeah, so fetch byte should also be the same type. I'm not sure why it's okay, so this is a promise, right? So and that is why it's getting a never in case there's a nothing, right? So but then okay, it's bytes or this never. Is it? I think like it's just because of this never that yeah, because never wouldn't have yeah, we could probably do something like rather than doing bytes, I can do like object dot keys on bytes right? I think like bytes shouldn't, still never. How come? Okay, I think I didn't have keys earlier. That might be a problem. No, still. This is because we are fetching it, right? So adding this await converts it. Let's see. Yeah. So it's a never array, right? So how do we check for this? Okay, so this returns never, this function never returns, so that is fine. And then this returns never an array, right? So you have to check, like, how do we check for that situation is what I'm wondering. We are doing a try catch, so what if I return a string here? Is it coming from this bit? Save on line 35. Yeah, so it's coming from here. But why does it have to be GD? Why does it have to be never? Is something I'm confused about. So what if I don't return anything and then go up here? It would be undefined, right? Yeah, so this is something I think we can work with. We can say bytes, and then I think, like, even if I just do bytes, I think that should be fine. So if I check for bytes, oh no, yeah, we need to explicitly check for that. So reverting this back to its original state, moving down here. So why are we not? Yeah, we are seeing some issues here. Undefined is not assignable to type this. Okay, so I think what we should do is if self if not bytes, or if not bytes, return rates. This should address all the issues. Okay, we have these issues now. This is fine. You also wanted to look at player, or something was breaking earlier. Was it bytes? Yeah, I think it was bytes then, but it seems fine now. could have been because the value we were passing might have been incorrect at that time. Yeah, it all looks fine. Good. Back to the listener. So this thing is something still pending on our end. This is all typed as byte, which is a problem, right? I think like, no, this is not even due to that. Element implicitly has any type because to use index type. Yeah, we can't. But yeah, this is why we are using get, right? This is exactly why we are, I think, using get. Okay, now get doesn't exist either. Is there an example that uses Airtable and TypeScript together? This I think won't be helpful because this will be querying everything on the GraphQL and scripting and creating a scripting environment. Okay. Okay. How do I access? So if I have a query, how do I access fields on them? Any examples of that? This creates an content production table. So how does one override the types? No. Okay, yeah, this is not really helpful. Let's see some other example. Writing to a table. I'm not sure if these examples use TypeScript, but then I think like just the way they query data might be helpful for us. So creating data here, there's no fetching apparently. Please fetch as well. Yeah, not useful to us. I don't think it uses Airtable, so okay. This is just Airtable UI. Okay. How about we just check for? Okay, let me see this one as well. Airtable data example. So they put in all of these details in. They have Airtable here. They load a source. Yeah, they do this field.name, right? So this is item. Where is item coming from? So they are doing raw JSON on it. Okay, interesting. So if I do r dot, why is this not typed? First of all, is a problem. Okay, it is typed, but where are they getting a record from? Records is coming from base is here. Where does API come from? Okay, this is a parameter. I don't see any reference of records. Okay, I think it's here, right? Okay, so they're doing each page on it, so getting a record there or a bunch of records, so that is fine. How about we go to fetch all? Fetch all. We have records here, right? No typing on it. Yeah, it's not really helpful. Funny thing is that at least it should show me fields and all, so it should at least says it's a record of T fields, right? So T field extends an object. Oh, okay, yeah, this is the problem, right? The problem is right here, like it extends an object. It should extend something better. Seems like a shortcut that has been taken. I can't override this. I will have to define the whole thing again, right? Like within the namespace of Airtable, I have to define this bit where I select T field extends interface which has fields in it, and fields has this generic accessible. No, that's too much hassle for now. Going back to fetch all and like through that, going back to listener. Yeah. Can I do like TS ignore for multiple files? Multiple lines actually. Okay, how to a block? Yep, you can't. Okay, that's sad. There's a TS no check, but then we don't want to do that. What is the final consensus on this? There is nothing like this right now. How does TS no check work? No. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. This seems like a cop-out, but I feel like it's not really worth spending too much time right now on. I will come back to this eventually. So we need to update this fetch file as well. So let me copy this TS. Alright, so I think all the things have been typed now, so let me do npm run dev and see where it complains. Okay, it didn't complain at all. Okay, we have our first error. So bytes map is not a function. then we don't have the keys either. Okay, but the important thing is that like we shouldn't get such runtime errors. Is okay, and what was bytes is more important as well. So but we open it here. This is in the bytes component. So we are expecting bytes to be here. How about we just do a log. What we do, c command prettier format file doesn't work. Okay, what is the issue here? Byte is not assignable to an intrinsic attribute. So it takes in a bytes array, right? And this is the bytes component. So let's see, on the index file we have bytes. This is taking in bytes. It seems fine to me, but then the problem is with player, I think. Yeah, bytes. So this is a problem with so this is, let's see, gd. This takes in audio, which is either audio or byte, and then from it we access the URL property, right? So the error it's throwing is that type byte is not assignable to intrinsic attribute plus audio, an object with audio. Okay, property byte doesn't exist on type. So here we are assigning a byte to it, and a byte has ID, name, URL, and created on. Yeah, I'm wondering whether I should do a union type here or not. Okay, yeah, actually this is the problem. All right, it takes in, how about we do it here? So type props is it has an audio property, and then it can be audio or byte. And this would be, it's the same thing, but right, and then if I go to index, I think it was throwing error in the bytes file, was it? Yeah. So type byte is not assignable to, okay, type byte doesn't exist on, property byte doesn't exist on intrinsic. But why do we need byte, the property byte? That is what I'm wondering. Okay, I see. Yeah, it should be audio, it shouldn't be byte at all. Bad. Right, so this would be byte dot audio, this would be audio, and this would be byte dot URL, right? So this should be fine. And if I, what is this? So property byte doesn't exist on type props. Okay, yeah, it should be white as well, right? So if I go back to this, I think it should be fine now. So let's refresh and check again. I think now it's throwing a different error, like bytes is not accessible. So let's do a log here. Inspect. Let's see the console. Refreshing again. Not really a helpful log. Error happened. Pick on the page was console log will be okay. Any console log will be displayed in terminal window. Okay, so that is fine. Yeah, we are getting this. E is an empty object, right? So let's see what we are getting here. So this would be an index because we are getting bytes up here as okay. Yeah, let's log it here. Console.log data. This will just log what we are getting from what we are getting as props. So data, we are getting E and an empty object, right? So this probably is just an error, right? So that is what it is. Although we should probably do a try catch, right? So that would help with that. So if I do try, and then a catch here as well. What's up? So format this. Yeah, it's throwing error that it's returning something that it's not really able to work with. But that said, they should always be able to. Okay, yeah, so we want to return props, right? And props would be of it can be anything here. So I'll say true. Yeah, so it's passing now. I think it is, unless we have some errors. I'm not sure what the error is. It has something here. Okay, I was just missing a parent. Now I think what we can do is we can just, okay, we are already logging the errors, right? So I can probably just do and then up here I can get rid of this log. I have messed up something here. That seems fine to me. Let's see. Too many curly braces. Okay. Error API key is required, so that is fine. We can source our key, and yeah, we renamed it to local. So this would be bytes, and this would be source local. And yeah, let's run the server on the right side now. So npm run dev and see here. Okay, so yeah, we're getting the data, we're getting this, right? So the bigger problem is if I go to index.ts6, I should just return data as an empty array, and that way sorry for that. I think like even if we don't have the environment variables, it will continue working, right? So we were passing it, the type expectations were incorrect, so I think that should be fine now. Let's see if everything is working. Hello. Hey, I'm recording. Hey, I'm recording. If I upload, let's see if the function works. Hey, I'm recording. Okay, this also works fine. The next thing that we want to test out is our listener, to see if that is working as expected. So I could do listener, or I could use ts node instead, right? So ts npx ts node listener would be npx ts node listener and then listener.ts. So if I have this chat window on the right side of the screen, so if I type out bytes random, okay, immediately it failed. Okay, I think I have to go inside the directory and then run it so that it picks up the right file, or rather than that, I can pass it a correct file, right, through flags. I think we did that last time. Project was the it could be listener ts config and then listener. I don't know, but let's see. Yeah, now it's complaining about the keys, which is fine. So source environment variable, let's try this out now. Okay, so now if I send this message out, next, yes, okay, so that worked. What we type in specific command, let's try first ls, so we get all these sounds. Then we say bytes live, or we just did recording, right? So let's try that. Byte not found. Okay, what was it called? It was called recording, but and it is giving us the name, right? So byte recording, let me try that again. It says byte not found. It's called recording here, so that is something. Bytes recording, yep, no recording found here. So let's see on Airtable what's the name that we have stored. I think we don't need for it to fetch the data again, because bytes ls is yeah, it's already giving me the name, so that shouldn't be a problem. Otherwise it wouldn't list down the sound at all. So let's check how we can address this. So we have recording here. Can I make it bigger? Yeah, we have recording here. I don't see any additional spaces or anything like that, so that should be fine. This is the name of the recording. How about we try something else? Maybe like it's not working for any of those. So bytes, let's try live. Yeah, it's saying like for everything it's not able to query, right? So something is broken right now. So let's see. So we want to go to our listener and jump to this section. Oh, okay, yeah. So we did sort of break it here. So I want to say match and then 1. Let's try that out now. Hopefully it works now. Okay, we are now getting a type error, so that's actually good that TypeScript is catching these, but then also worried why it's not picking it here. Maybe it's just not picking the right. Okay, we do have error here. Just missing in closing paren, I think that is all. Do we have any other errors? No. Good. So we can come up here, try this again. Okay, cool, it's connected. So let me do bytes random first of all. Hey, I'm recording. Choose the recording. So let me run that specifically by running bytes recording rather than random. Hey, I'm recording. Okay, that works, and let's do bytes ls as well. Yeah, so with this I think we have addressed all the parts which were using TypeScript just beside the Airtable bit, which is something I'll explore in my own time and then sort of address it in the next stream if I figure out a solution for it. So yeah, that is something we'll look into next time, where we sort of get rid of these TS ignores, right? So this is the only thing that is pending, but at the same time, like even if we don't, it's fine. So yeah, let me commit this and we should be good. So the changes that we made are okay. Let's also get rid of this console log. So my rg command for some reason is not working. So no, now it's working. So we have a bunch of console logs. Some of them I want to get rid of. So we certainly want to get rid of this one. There's one more here. I think like this is related to errors, so that should be fine. Yeah. What else? These all seem related to error. This is just a message. This is fine. Yeah, all of this looks fine. So now going back to the diff, I eventually want to move the types to a separate file rather than them being sort of spread out across components in various places. But for now it should do. Actually going back up again, so here we just refactored it a little bit. We don't even need to do a return, we can revert it back, but we just added this div, so that's all right. Then we have a player where we explicitly did this prop again, like I think we just did audio or bytes, so that is a different thing, and then also typed out everything else as well, so set audio, things like that, and the chunks as well. In upload we also defined the audio type, props, and then use those props, and then did like a check if audio and audio URL are available. This is the listener. On listener we added a few types, not hasn't been always, like, we still have this pending, so that is something we need to address. Fetch bytes, I think like fetch bytes is something that needs to be fixed. right? I think because in our index we are calling fetch bytes, right? We are calling fetch, and fetch in turn what dot it calls fetch all, right? So if I go to now fetch all, where is okay fetch bytes? Just a second, something was incorrect here, right? So this is fetch bytes function within a listener, right? So listener fetch bytes. Okay, so yeah, so if it's an empty, yeah, it has to return, like rather than returning an empty object, it has to return a empty, like rather than an empty array, it has to return an empty object, so that while I'm querying this here down below, so the expectations are that it would be a, this would be the result, right? So in case I get rid of this return altogether, what is the type that I get? I get undefined, right? So have I catered for that undefined scenario? I think I have, yeah, here, so it should be fine. Don't need to worry too much about it. So coming back here to the diff, we are talking about this, but then we have addressed it by doing this thing, like in case there's no bytes we just return, and then we also have a check here when we match, like in case we have bytes and then we might match against that. We have enabled strict checking, which was the agenda of this stream altogether. Some types on the function previously, and then on the index file we defined all the types explicitly, and yeah, I think that is it. What else? Some formatting, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So it all looks good to me. I'll say refactor to use ts. Yep. So then I push it. I also want to update the readme. So we have added strict type checking in most of the areas. So the next thing is adding, I think, like let's break it down into two rather than just one. I think like it will take enough time for authentication that maybe we won't be able to get to authorization. So next stream would be about adding authentication. So let's commit this. Right. So coming back here, this project has been so far private, so let me make this public. How do I do that? I thought there used to be an option to, okay, change the visibility. So okay, yeah, and then I can just get rid of the sound bytes one. You can get rid of this altogether because this is deprecated now. We already have the same functionality and a lot more. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that is all for today. Thank you guys for streaming. All right, bye bye.